Are there any particular countries that we can look to as models that encourage its citizens to read a lot, or we can draw experiences from?
There is considerable number of research proving the efficacy of free voluntary reading. Research done with different kinds of subject, research done with different kinds of participants, with different kinds of contexts, everywhere in South Korea, in Japan, in Malaysia, as well as in Taiwan. They come to a very similar conclusion. That is, when children are given light reading, reading which is meaningful to them, reading which is of interest to them, then I'm sure they will develop a habit of reading.
So if they read comics or novels, are those sufficient, or is that quality reading?
Yeah, maybe some people might say that it is junk reading. That is, it's not quality reading. But the problem is that maybe they after they go home from work, they become bored with their mundane activity. So the last resort that they can find is only those books.
This is pleasure reading.
This is pleasure reading. Yeah, they also read a newspaper. But in Indonesia, we have newspaper, national newspaper, which is known, which become the consumptions of academicians, which become the consumptions of scholars. You know, there's also, if I may say, less qualified magazine. People like that. People buy this magazine. Every people from all walks of life buy this magazine. Maybe you may say less qualified magazine in the sense that magazines that magazines that
gossip,
celebrity, something like that. So also there is a magazines related to city news, but which is written not in a very serious way. They also love reading those.
For you as an academic,
yes.
When you say let's encourage reading, what type of reading or what type of books would you like to see people to read more?
Yeah, it is. We cannot. We have to see case per case. In this case, we cannot simply generalize. What I would like to highlight is that let people read whatever they want. In this case, because we cannot accuse them. Oh, you do not read quality literature. We also have to pay attention their educational background. I see their educational background, their economic status. So there are very enormous variables that motivate people to read, basically, and also the educational context. So the thing that I always stress in my writing, in my research, is that the most important thing to develop reading enthusiasm, to inculcate the love for reading, is school. Actually, teachers should be aware of this important issue.
Do Filipinos read a lot of books these days?
The Filipinos love to read, except that the majority of the Filipinos, the children especially, do not have access to books. Because we're a developing country, having to buy your books to read is a luxury. We do not have functional public libraries today. So you sort of feel that you have to buy every book you read, especially for the public school sector, because the private schools have good libraries, but not the public school sector. That's why recently we have many non-government organizations who are trying to address this problem. For instance, the Department of Education from 6 years ago began library hubs. What are these? These are warehouse type of libraries Because if we have to put a library in every public school, it would take us a lifetime. There are 35,000 public schools. So somebody, a brilliant former Undersecretary of Education, Mike Lu, said, oh, why don't we have library warehouse types, library hubs, to service several schools. So right now, we've reached 50% of all the school divisions. In the public school system, there's a school division, and under that division could be about 10 schools. So the library hubs have the books in plastic containers so that school librarians or school representatives can get books for a month. So it's institutional checkouts. So that's what is being done, and we hope that will help solve the problem of having no books to read. No? Earlier you asked, what kind of books should children or the youth read? I feel that they should first discover the joy of reading, the fun that reading can give, before you dictate what they should read. If they develop the reading skills, they discover the reading habit, they will become critical readers and develop their reading tastes. And they begin to go from light reading to literature that's quality literature or relevant to them, and with the guidance also of teachers and other professionals.